The first topic in this functional programming Scala is by Kiran KV and from the Java team. Kiran, please come on stage.
Today I am going to present some basics about functional programming. Before going to functional programming, we have different types of programming techniques: object-oriented, imperative, event-driven programming, functional programming, etc. In all this, we have worked with, I think most of us work with object-oriented concepts, imperative programming, then by functional programming. Before going to tell functional programming, what is a program? Anybody? Yes. Yes. Thanks, sir. Thanks, Shiva. Program basically is a set of instruction aspected on. You can search in Google, simple Wikipedia tells. So program is a set of instructions tell the computer what to do. Okay, that's the basic definition of a program. Let us concentrate imperative programming and object-oriented programming. Imperative programming. What is imperative programming? Let's say there is a sequence of instructions or commands that will instruct the computer what things are. In the case of object-oriented programming, everything bind with objects, means data members and data functions. These are the common programming methods that we use. Here you can see the program is series, not series of commands. Then what is it? In functional programming, it's not a series of commands. It's the evaluation of expressions rather than the execution of commands. In functional programming, everything acts as an expression. We told the computer what things are, not what to do. What things are means, here I can say there is a governor. Means in the case of governor, what is a governor? Governor means the top voted candidates from state. So these types of instructions, you tell the computer what things are. Then next, what is a function? We already got the idea what is program, then what is function. Function is a relation between values that will gives one exact one output. That's the main definition of a function. Then we can say the function is pure. Then it means if the return value of a function will not affect the rest of the program, which means I have a function for adding two numbers, so it will return the sum. The rest of the program I am expecting only positive numbers. So if the sum is negative, it will break our code. Another case, in our program itself, it's accepting two values. It's expecting only positive values. If you are passing negative values, it will break. So avoiding that, our function should be stable. So in the case of pure function, we need to handle both these scenarios. Means return value will not affect the rest of the program, and inside the program it will not affect by the passing arguments. So these types of functions can be called as pure functions. This simple picture for function is that this always have an input values and it will process and it will give you the output. Then let us come to the main characteristics of a functional programming. First one is functions are deterministic. What it means, if you are passing same values to the function, it will always return the same result. That means functions are deterministic. Suppose we have a function for adding two numbers. If we are passing same number, let us say 2 and 3, it will always return 5. That type of characteristic known as deterministic characteristics. It is easy to unit test and debugging purposes. Next one, functions are encapsulated. Encapsulated means without knowing the inner logic of a function, we can use somewhere else. Then this will help us to reuse our block of code and we can easily maintain our code. Next one, functions are stateless. Stateless means without knowing the rest of the process, function will execute independently. Means it always execute as fresh functions. Then the main point is data is immutable. This is the main point in functional programming. We can't assign a variable into, we can change the value of a variable in functional programming. This is a main concept in functional programming. If you want to change the object, you need to make a copy. This will help us to save from thread safe and concurrency related active. And you can see here, this is from Scala code. You can see here I am trying to assign a value to variable A, and you can't reassign another variable into A. It will throw error. Okay, these are the building blocks of a functional programming. Functions are deterministic, encapsulated, and stateless, and data is immutable. So let us build functional programming. There are different types of programming languages available now. Say Lisp, Erlang, Scala, Rust, and Haskell. Most of them not purely functional programming. These all supports object-oriented programming as well. But Haskell is purely functional programming language. I think INAP already developed one application using Erlang. Am I right, Ed? Elixir. So, okay. Okay. Then functions are first-class citizens. Anybody know what is first-class citizen? It's a computer-related term, computer science-related term. First-class citizens. Yes, Elena.
Given the highest priority.
Sorry?
Given the highest priority.
No. Anybody else? Okay. First class citizens means it's a type of an object. We can assign to a variable, or we can assign to a data structure, or we can pass to a functions, or we can return from functions. These type of objects called first class citizens. Here we can assign a string to a string, and I am trying to assign to a data structure and assign to a passing to a method and returning from a method. These type of functionality called first class citizens. Functional programming functions are first class citizens. Means we can assign to a variable. Functions we can assign to a variable, and we can assign a function to a data structure, and we can assign to another method. We can pass it as an argument to another method, or we can return functions as a return type. So that's why functional programming is the first class citizens. So let us check. Here I am trying to assign a function to a variable. Here this first variable I am trying to assign this string into these functions, and it will return a function. Next one returns functions from functions. Here the tag test, it's a Scala code. I will explain the syntax. This tag text, this is the function parameters, and its type is string. Next parameter text and type is string. Here I am accepting two string parameters and trying to create a tag and a text value. This is a function definition. So next, I am calling this function and passing two strings C1 and enab. So it will assign to company 1. This function will return to company 1. So I am trying to print that company 1. It will print like this. Okay. Next, returning functions from functions. Here I am trying to pass text to, in this example, the type is string, and the return type of that function, that after equals, is another functions. It's block of functions. So block of codes. It's a function. Then I am assigning that function to tag with C1. Then calling this tag text to by using enab argument. Then it will return this full function and this appending this variable. So the final output will be inside that tag the enab and the next one the tag line. These returning functions from function will help us to create libraries and create frameworks. These are the core concept of creating libraries. Anybody know what is curry? Currying means, it's a computer science term. We can pass functions to functions or return from functions. This functionality is called currying. Okay, then the last functionality of a functional programming, higher order functions. I will explain, I have two codes now from Java and Scala. I have a list and it contains 3 elements. So we need to, if we need to print this, we need to for loop or in same syntax, almost similar in Java and Scala. In functional programming, they are not preferring for loops and recurring functions. So let us check how this will handle in functional programming. Here the first block is a normal block for printing this list, this for loop. For replacing this, I am using a function for print one array element, one list element, and calling a inbuilt functions which provided by the functional programming. Functional programming provides some inbuilt function for looping and find the index. Such I will explain that later. So we can replace these for loops code by this for each, this tell em. This variable, in this variable we can see that it is returning a function. So this for each will repeatedly execute and it will return the println statement. This is the function argument and rest of them the function body. Okay, these are the inbuilt functions which provided by the functional programming. It may the syntax and syntax may vary depending on the programming language like Scala and Haskell. So higher order functions takes one or more functions as an input parameters and it may output one function. That is the basic principle of functional higher order functions. Then anonymous function. I think in Java 8 and in F#, they are implementing this anonymous higher order functions. Anonymous function means passing argument to higher order function or returning from the higher order functions. These are the basic